Hello and welcome to the Board of Dreams. Now I'm looking at something which I'd actually retrieved from my parents, and there's basically to the left of me there is a whole box full of these. So I'm basically just going to pick one out, talk about it, talk completely off the top of my head really, and just go through some of these childhood toys of mine. I will emphasize actually that I know that this isn't actually the full set I once had. Some have disappeared, and I think they ended up in probably other boxes, and I know we sold a lot years ago, but I specifically did not sell these. So let's just start off with the first one, which I pulled out. So Diesel 199, which I think, isn't he a peak? I'm not quite sure actually. I think he might be a peak, but I'm not sure. But yeah, he is from, you can just about see, he was made in 1996, or at least that's what the licensing says. And yeah, one of the things about this one, and a few of the toys have this, is the face is actually cast into the body shell, and so just rotating to the back, so it's a much more typical back end. But the front end, yeah, he's got a full-on face, and this is actually a Railway Series character. Was he the one who got the ball hat sucked into him? Something like that. I don't know. I'll need to dig out the books. But yeah, that is Diesel 199. He's a pretty good toy representation, really. These have all been played with, so they will have scratches. This is actually one of the better ones. So yeah, Diesel 199. Okay. Next one from the box, you all know this one, is Henry. Now Henry was actually in the first wave, but this is actually a later one, because first of all it's got the moulded pop out face and the red running boards. Now what they used to be like I'll come on to in a little while. So this one is dated 1987, which would be when the original came out. So yeah, Henry, he's pretty decent actually. He's actually got the later firebox design, and yeah, he actually rolls pretty smoothly. But yeah, that's Henry the Green Engine. Quite good livery actually. Now I noticed this on one or two of them. It's like a mold or something's got into it. Something's oxidized. It's not liked it. Can't do anything about it, unfortunately. Next, Boko. Again, much like Diesel 199, he has got a molded face. Boko, because he is a Kobo. That's the that's his wheel, so D5702, and yeah, he's actually got, or did have, the British Railways later ferret and dartboard emblem. So he's basically got he's basically a class 28. Yeah, that's him. Next, there's a bit of a story behind this one. Duke. Now we all know Duke's story, but I have a story as well, because I remember ordering Duke, and it was like the first thing I ever truly mail ordered. This was before internet mail ordering. So it was in the back of the magazine, and you could send away. It cost like £5 or £6, and you could buy them. But the thing is, I did that. I waited weeks and weeks and weeks, or for someone of that age, like a 10-year-old, I think I was at the time. Weeks and weeks and weeks, seems like months and months and months and months. So when I went to a toy shop once, and I bought him. So I've actually got 2 of these. They're in actually remarkably good condition as well. Sorry about that, I just had a duel with a blue bottle. I won. But yeah, so going back, yeah, I picked one up at the shop, and then not too long after I bought the one at the shop, the mail order one arrived. So yeah, I have 2 Dukes for that reason. Yeah, I've got nothing really to add to that really. It's just a little niche thing. I quite like Duke actually. He's fairly substantial. I'll just pick the one up. He's fairly substantial. He's quite blocky. He's quite chunky actually, and I think he's a fair representation of the real thing. Obviously, the real thing doesn't have this great big metal piece here, but that obviously helps with the structural integrity of the engine. But yeah, these are my 2 Dukes. There we are. So let's just put those 2 to the side. Next one, now this is fairly well played with, so yeah, I actually just had to repair that because this for the jib, yeah, so you can do that, and you can, unfortunately the hook on this is broken, so you can turn around and yeah, you can play it picking up trains and things. Yeah, that was actually one of the older ones, I believe. 2 of the screws are gone, I never noticed that. Let me have a look at that with the naked eye. Yeah, 1994 that one's dated. So we'll put that to the side there. There's something about the next one I'm going to raise because it is kind of hilarious when I point it out. But obviously we have Oliver. He's in very well played with condition. I used to play with these everywhere, outside, in the bath, everywhere, and yeah, that's a fairly good representation of the TV series face actually. And it's the GWR livery, this very bright green interpretation which they have. But I'm just going to put him down for a moment because there is something I do need to look at. And we have Toad, Oliver's brake van. And yeah, this is I quite like this one. However, there is a fundamental flaw with the model. So if we just pair it up with Oliver and couple them together, do you see the problem? Yeah. Oliver's quite a lot smaller than Toad. These scales for some of the engines are really out of whack. They are... This is actually closer to 00. Stupid fly came back for round 2. I won again. I think it went for a best of 3. But yeah, so getting back onto this, Oliver's pretty well scaled and everything, but and the proportions of both are okay, but they're just a massively different scale. I do not understand why they did that. But yeah, so that's Oliver, and that is Toad the brake van. And let's get on to another pairing. We have, this is quite an old one, one of my older ones. We have Toby, and This one's pretty well beaten up, and it's well played with. It's had a good life really, and this is dated 1984, 1986, I think. But yeah, Toby, he's actually a pretty good representation. Now, it's a curious thing with these actually, because scale is interesting because they're actually quite close, I think, to S scale. Yeah, so they're, or is it TT? One of those two. But yeah, they're slightly smaller than 4mm 00 scale. So yeah, I mean, this is Toby 060, of course, with the rolly wheels. And where would Toby be without Henrietta? A very much beaten up Henrietta. But compared to Oliver and Toad, these two are quite well proportioned. That's quite satisfying. Henrietta's obviously had quite a hard life as well at my hands, but it's actually solid die cast apart from the chassis. Now I believe Henrietta came the same year, so we have 1992. No, I'm guessing it did come a little bit later. But yeah, that is Toby and Henrietta. Let's move on to the next two, I suppose. Donald and Douglas. Yeah, I really quite like these. These are actually nicely sculpted, I think. Obviously they're practically the same model, except the names and numbers are different. The number being on the tender, that's part of the story. And yeah, their faces, are their faces identical? Almost. I think they are. I think so. I think the only difference is the eyes. The orientation of the eyes has been printed the other way around. But yeah, these are basically Donald and Douglas are in British Railways black with the lining and everything. Yeah, these are well played with as well. Now they did carry over. I'll put one down for the moment. They did carry over an error with the TV series model, in that there's no place for the water. So the coal tenders are actually incorrect. There should be a place to put water in, really. That's what a tender's for. Let's go on to the next one. We've got here George. He looks well annoyed. Yeah. Is his face? Oh no, it is a plastic face. Yeah, this one's actually survived quite well, actually. Not really much to say about George. It's basically a toy steamroller. Which I can push backwards and forwards like that. So yeah, he can park in there. Here's one. Gordon the Express Engine. Now this is actually one of the later ones as well, with, much like Henry over there, he's got the red running boards, and he's obviously slightly longer. He's a sort of a cross between an LMS and LNER logo, funny enough. He's supposed to be a brother of Flying Scotsman, which also used this same tooling, but he's got a an LMS tender and an LMS style front sloping plate thingy. Yeah, this is Gordon. He's quite long actually. What you'd expect for an express engine. He's ever so slightly longer than Henry. But yeah, this is much like the other ones. This is a later one with the red running boards and the pop-out 3D face. What have we got next? We have D261, who is a class 40, I believe. Now this is, I think he was in the original Railway series, I believe, but I think he did make it to the TV series later on after the Audrey stories had run out. I think I'd need to look at that, but this one's actually survived incredibly well. This is, I believe, this was one of the later ones I bought, and he is dated 1997. Yeah, so the 1997 range, maybe might have been around in 96, but definitely in 1997. And yeah, he's a fairly decent representation of his class. He's decent size, well proportioned, not exactly the most popular character, not the most common character, I don't think, but yeah, he's yeah, it's a fairly decent toy there, really. I can't really see all the kids wanting to go out and get a diesel, but yeah. Now the next one is quite a special one. This is James. This one, I believe, is older than me. He was a sticker face, and you can see he's got the different running boards. So he's got the white running boards, and the paint has survived ever so slightly better on this side, so he's still got the number 5 here. But yeah, this one's sort of half stripped down to bare metal over the years. As well, at 35 odd years old, you wouldn't look as good, would you? Yeah, he's a little bit beaten up and very, very well played with, but still a very loved toy. I would never get rid of that. In fact, that one is older than me. So on to the next one. This is another older one. We have Edward with his sticker face. The camera really quite likes picking up on the faces actually on here. So yeah, you can't really go wrong with Edward. He's cool. Obviously the oldest one on the island. His couplings are still intact, in fact, and the paint's still okay. The black hasn't survived very well, but the blue is still covering most, and most of the lining is still generally there. He's still a good representation of good old Edward. Let's put him down there next to James. Very much his contemporary. Yeah, I've got 2 here of Bertie. Now you can tell the left one is obviously the old sticker face. He has been very much well played with, as he's missing his front wheels. But you can see on the right it's practically the same model, except they've got a different face on there, and my example still has all the wheels there. Same passengers as well. Girl without a seatbelt on, and yeah, slightly strange kid sitting in the back as well. Very odd people. But there's Bertie. And I'm going to assume that the driver was still the same. I believe he was. Let's put those down. On to the next one, which we've got Mavis. She looks a bit, yeah, Mavis is cool. This is actually, she's based much like Toby on the Wisbech and Upwell tramway, and the tramway used, I think, is this a BR class 3 or 4? Anyway, she's an 060, and they had these wheel guards, and the cowcatcher fitted for running along the roads in Cambridgeshire and Norfolk. But yes, that is a Mavis. It's quite a fair representation of the real thing there. We are very, very slowly getting through the box. Well, we're about halfway, I think. Daisy. Diesel rail car. She only had a coupling on the back, and because I think sometimes in real life, there's a little bit of a preview of the next ones, they would have, I don't really want to force that, but they would have a milk tanker sometimes behind them, and when they're going about the villages. But yes, put that one back, and yeah, so this is Daisy. She's very much a feminine pioneer, funnily enough, in the Thomas world, and I like her. She's kind of cool. It's very similar colour to Henry over there, except she's got the lining, which would have been, this would have been based on the British Railways green and with the yellow lining, but obviously for the TV series she's a much lighter colour. What next? Okay, we're on to some vehicles at the moment. So Caroline, yeah, now the story of this has actually completely escaped me. Was Caroline, was she the one who, that was it, the one where Stepney gets the cricket ball, yeah, bowled out or something like that. Or rain, something stops play, or so, I've got to look this one up. But yeah, Caroline the car. And to accompany Caroline, we have the Fat Controller's car, which that was a 1995. So basically a toy car. I'm not all up on my pre-war cars, so if someone could tell me what that's actually based on, I would be appreciative, because yeah, it's actually quite a pretty toy, and my one survived very well actually. It's in pretty good condition, and yeah, it's the Fat Controller's car. I'm just going to shift Henry and I'm going to shift Boko around the other way, because my face detection keeps picking them up and focusing on them. Anyway, what have we got next? So we've got Godred, one of the mountain engines, which these guys had two faces. Now I believe the two faces were two separate characters really, but yeah, obviously the boiler was tilted because they would go up the mountain, and what was quite common was for the Swiss railways, rather than having the boiler like that, they'd have one like that. So when they're going up the mountain, the water level was level to gravity, really, to the actual ground, rather than going up the side, because if it had a conventional boiler, it would actually, when it's going up the hill, it would expose part of the boiler inside and cause overheating, and it could blow up. And next one out the box, diesel. Yeah, BR Class 08, BR Black. I think they've made him a little bit more tamer these days, but back in the day he was proper nasty. Yeah, if you actually want to see Class 08s, I've actually got a couple of models on this very channel. Yeah, it's diesel. He is dated 1990. Yeah, that's a fair representation. And when you take Toad, he's not massively out of scale. So this is where the scale had sort of really gone to whack, really. What have we got next? Oh, and have we got the other one? I'll have a look in a minute. we have Ben of Bill and Ben with a hollowed out cab, 040. These dated 1991. Yeah, that's just Ben. And Bill is, yes, there we are. There's Bill and Ben, not the flower pot Ben. Yeah, these are based on Alfred and Judy, which were based in Cornwall, and they had these lower cabs to fit under a low bridge. So I've actually seen one of them in real life, one of Alfred, or was it Judy, I think, Bodmin. So that with the conventional engines, let's take diesel here, it's quite a lot taller, and he would actually hit one of the bridges coming out of the harbour. So these little 040 tank engines with the low down cab were made just for that branch line, which I cannot remember its name. We've got another vehicle now. We have Bulgy. Free the roads. Join the Anti-Rail League. Railway bus. Yeah, this one's been played with. Very much enjoyed. He's based on. Is he based? He's based on a Route Master, I think. But yeah, much like Bertie, he's got these sort of rubber tyres. He's basically, for all intents and purposes, a toy car. Bulgy was quite a cool character. I don't know what they've done with him lately. I've not kept up with him. I'll be honest, actually, I've not really watched anything since Series 4. So we're getting on now. We are slowly getting through. So, Stepney the Bluebell Engine. Yeah, he's quite small actually when you compare him to well, let's get Oliver here, who is stupidly small anyway for some reason. Yeah, Stepney's about the right size. It's quite a memorable character actually as well. He's one of the better Railway series characters. I quite like him in the Railway series, as with that link to what was actually happening at the time in the real world. Stepney was an introduction for many to what Heritage Railway did, and with what the Bluebell were doing at the time when Stepney the Bluebell Engine was written. Oh, we have another bill. I don't remember buying another bill. And you can hear the rustling. So we have here a city of Churro. This was a one-off character in the TV series. They made the model, but it was a rolling model. He didn't do anything. I don't think they actually put a face on him either. But yeah, this is I think he had 3440 on the side. Yeah, I think so. But yeah, this is quite a nice one. This was, what year was this one? Bearing in mind this isn't exactly representative of the year it came out to the shops, so 1993. Yeah, so I think they've done most of the main characters by then, and we're exploring more of the stories. But yeah, City of Churro, one of the few real engines we have here. We'll put that next to the other real one, Stepney. And what else have we got? We have got Coldy, very much like Godred up at the back there. He's got the sloped boiler, two faces. Now these Snowden Mountain Railway engines all do have their slight differences, different faces of course. I know they did actually bring out this Snowden carriages later on, but I never actually got those. Yeah, that's Caldy. I quite like the purple on this actually. It's actually survived very well. These have all basically sat in a cupboard for 20 years, so they've not actually been in the damp or anything, except for when I was playing with them in the bath. On to the next one. What have we got? This is a very well played with one, but Terence, he's a happy chappy, isn't he? Yeah, as a kid, one of the things which sort of got destroyed was the tracks, because, well, a tractor, I mean, what are you going to do? You're just going to start pulling these things off, aren't you? That's just how these things go. Obviously, over the years, it's sat still, and the rubber on them's got a little bit stiff, so you can sort of see they were actually smoother back when they came out, but such is what happens with old toys. But yeah, that's Terence. He's also got a pin for towing, so yeah, he can actually connect up to an engine for some reason and give them a tow. I have no idea why I've got two. Oh no, I've got two Bens actually, and a Bill. That's right. So, what we got next? We got another mountain engine. This is Lord Harry. Again, it's a very different design to the other two. Again, same face on the back for when coming backwards down the mountain. Yeah, he's actually survived very well. I do love the names and how well they're printed on here. But there's nothing actually in the cab at all. Well, this one's been well played with, and it shows, because this is obviously Duck. Waddle, 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 waddle. Who's obviously missing his chimney, which is a little bit sad. But this is my childhood one, and I'd never get rid of it. It's yeah, well, these are all my childhood ones, and I'll never get rid of them. So let's get on to another series of characters, I think. So we have here Duncan, which is based on Douglas at the Talyllyn Railway. The real Douglas is currently in RAF Blue, as of recording anyway. Yeah, no, I've been to this one. I think I've ridden behind him. Yeah, I quite like the narrow gauge engines on the full range, and they'd actually kept with the TV series characters, because in the TV series they'd given them all different colours. So obviously that's to help, I suppose, with the younger audience to identify which one's which and have a better association of the colours with the characters. So yeah, we have a Duncan there, and Peter Sam, who is aka Edward Thomas of the Talyllyn, and this has got the iconic Giesel ejector, which is no longer fitted to the real thing, but it's actually in the Narrow Gauge Railway Museum at the Tywin Wharf on the Talyllyn Railway. I think that's how you pronounce it. But yeah, that's Peter Sam. I think he was one of my favourites actually. Sir Handel, who is is based on Sir Hayden, which is also at the Talyllyn, but Sir Hayden, the real engine, he originated at the Corris Railway, which is a few miles away from the Talyllyn. Same gauge, and much like, and he came with Peter Sam, funnily enough, or yeah. I can't remember, what did I call Peter Sam anyway? Oh, I can't remember now. Yeah, so Sir Hayden / Sir Handel, he was a Corris Railway engine who moved to the Talyllyn when it opened in preservation, because the Talyllyn started and they were struggling for motive power, and initially they only had Renaeus. Well, Renaeus is a real life counterpart anyway. Now he is supposed to be red. Now I'm not sure if that's the camera picking that up strange, or if my eyesight's been wrong for 20 years, but he's coming out a slight pink. Yeah, so yeah, that's Renaeus, number 2. And we have here Skarloey, or aka Talyllyn, from the Talyllyn Railway, and he is the oldest engine on the narrow gauge railway. And look at his face. Look, it's just zoom right way in. There we go. Yeah, it's a fair representation. I do have an ON30 model of Talyllyn to complete. And last one for the narrow gauge, because I've covered the narrow gauge in that. I've also covered Duke as well, but yeah, we have Rusty, Ruston and Hornsby something or other. Yeah, he's a little diesel, number 5 on the Skarloey Railway. Yeah, he's the reliable little diesel who very much underappreciated, I think. So I'm going to have a look at some of the rolling stock we have. So a lot of the rolling stock came in pairs. So first pair I have here is the Sodor Mail. Now these are quite cool. They're actually bogie coaches. The bogies don't move, they're fixed. But yeah, these look quite good actually, and you will notice with the coaches the tooling was pretty much the same on all of them, with bar one slight change, and I think the roofs are slightly different as well. But obviously you've got this hook and pin coupling system, which stayed most of the way through the range's life, I believe. But yeah, we got the 2 Sodor Mail coaches, and slightly related to that is the 2 express coaches. Now this is going to bug me because the brake is at the front of the train because of the pin. Anyway, yeah, these are again pretty much the same tooling actually. Yeah, same roof, same chassis, just different stickers on the side, I suppose. And these are the express coaches, so they are also compatible with the other rolling stock. And we have now the old coaches. I think these are associated with Edward, but I actually really like these. I think I preferred them over the other 2 I'm going to look at. But yeah, these were generally for Edward. You can see they're pretty much the same tooling for Annie and Clarabel. So yeah, I'll look at Annie and Clarabel in a second. But yeah, 4-wheel chassis, quite straightforward, but they fit the part. I can't really complain too much about them really. Yes, you wanted to see these two, didn't you? Annie and Clarabel. Now these yeah, these are very much TV series, but I think the ERTL range did include the Railway series books, and they did refer to them quite often. Actually, as you can see with some of the other characters, they didn't ignore them and just go for the TV series. But yeah, we have Annie and Clarabel. Wait for it. The next one we have is, I think these two came as a pair. So we have the Sodor Fuel and the Tar Wagon. These are basically based on any sort of British Railways tanker wagon. Fairly common, but yeah, these are quite cool. They're quite nice bits of rolling stock. I'm running out of space on the magic board of dreams, and again, same as the other ones, except for some reason one's gone really yellow. Maybe that wasn't in the box for a while. But yeah, that one's also lost its pin, so it's been pretty battered. But yeah, the two milk tankers. And what year were these, in fact? I think these must have been a lot earlier, I'm sure. So 1993, these are a bit later. Okay, I've officially run out of room on the board, but I've only got a few left. So this one is, this is missing a very key part. I have him somewhere, but yeah, he's probably in a big box at my parents' somewhere. But yeah, this had the scrap version of Trevor on it. Unfortunately, the pin at the front has gone. That went many years ago, but it's quite nice, actually, all flatbed wagon. You could pretty much just take anything, dump it on the top, and tow them along. But yeah, that's the flatbed wagon. Okay, and just these couple, and we'll get to who you're expecting. So the Troublesome Trucks, these are actually the TV series accurate faces, I think. And these are fairly wide, actually. When you take, I'm using Toad as the wide scale. It's actually kind of in scale with them. Whereas if you was to couple them behind Oliver, again, what's the deal with Oliver? But yeah, these are the Troublesome Trucks. These have actually, you'll notice that over the time, they were this grey colour, but they have sort of yellowed that way old plastic does. Can't really do much about that, but that is what it is. And yeah, we're on to the final of the Thomas ones, and yes, it's Thomas. Now, I'd actually had a couple of Thomases, I believe. I have somewhere at my parents', actually I know exactly where it is at my parents', the golden 50th anniversary one. There's this one, which has got the 3D pop-out face and the red running boards, but the originals were much like James there. The original had sticker face with changeable stickers, so he had like a tired face and a sad face and a happy face, I think, and the white running boards. But yeah, this is of course Thomas the Tank Engine, the London Brighton South Coast E2. So yeah, and here he is with Annie and Clarabel. Yeah, exactly like that. And yeah, so many hours of fun which were had with these. So going off the top of my head, somewhere there is a regular Trevor, and there is also the scrap trailer which went with this thing. And somewhere at some point I had a Henry with a sticker face and a Gordon with a sticker face, and those have long gone into the midst of time. And the Harold is somewhere. I did see it the other day, in fact, but I didn't think to put it with the rest of this collection. He's a little bit broken in that he's missing one of the rotor blades. So yeah, and what was the other one? I have the two big pull back and go ones, which I did in a video a few weeks ago now. And the final thing I had was the playset, which was the engine shed playset. So it had an oval of track with a sort of a smaller oval, a turntable and an engine shed. And there was also a run-off branch line thing, which you could use to just run off onto the kitchen floor or connect to another playset. So I think that was the biggest playset you can get at the time. I was quite lucky with that. So yeah, that is my Thomas ERTL collection. And thank you if you've made it this far. This is what, 45 odd minutes or so, I think. You've got more stamina than me. So yeah, well, thank you very much for listening. Like, subscribe, share, comment, give me money, whatever. You can even read my blog, actually, if you look in my comment section. And yeah, we'll have to do more and more of these, looking at my various toys from the past. So yes, thank you very much for watching, and have a good evening. Don't really remember the space shuttle being part of the Thomas range. Steve the space shuttle. Yeah. Now they're sort of scraping the barrel with characters now, so it wouldn't surprise me.